Lately, I've noticed something changing. I feel more grounded, more still. My articulation is sharpening. My confidence feels less performative and more integrated. I've recorded 10 episodes, planned 12, and I can feel exhaustion creeping in. Not burnout, just load. There's also joy behind it, quiet joy, the kind that doesn't ask to be announced. But there's a gray area I keep running into, and I want to map it honestly. Musashi once said, think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. At first glance, that sounds simple. In practice, it isn't, because somewhere between thinking lightly of myself and thinking deeply of the world, I start to lose clarity about responsibility. When do I prioritize my own needs? When do I lean outward toward empathy? Where does discipline end and self neglect begin? Where does care for others turn into overreach? This isn't a philosophical puzzle, it's a practical one. Thinking lightly of the self does not mean ignoring hunger, fatigue, or limits. It doesn't mean becoming endlessly accommodating. It doesn't mean dissolving boundaries in the name of virtue. It means not making my self image the center of every decision, not treating every emotion as a command, not confusing internal noise with moral truth. Lightness is about ego weight, not self erasure. At the same time, thinking deeply of the world doesn't mean absorbing everyone else's emotional state. It doesn't mean constant availability. It doesn't mean carrying outcomes that aren't mine to carry. Death isn't emotional flooding, death is discernment, seeing systems, seeing timing, seeing roles, responding proportionally instead of reflexively. The gray line I keep encountering isn't between selfishness and kindness, it's between responsibility and overreach. Here's the distinction I'm learning to hold: I am responsible for my actions, my words, my commitments, my attention, and my limits. I am responsible to others in terms of respect, honesty, and fairness. I am not responsible for their emotional outcomes. I am not responsible for their interpretations. I am not responsible for carrying their discomfort with my boundaries. When grounding starts to overload, it's usually because responsibility has quietly expanded beyond its rightful boundary. That's when everything feels heavy. That's when empathy turns into confusion. That's when discipline starts to feel like pressure instead of structure. Becoming a better man, I'm realizing, isn't an emotional state. It's not balance. It's not clarity. It's not feeling resolve. It's conduct under fatigue. It's choosing proportion when impulse is louder. It's staying consistent when motivation drops out. Right now, I'm tired and still working, still articulating, still refining. That doesn't mean I should push harder. It means I should stop dramatizing the tiredness. When cognitive grounding overloads, the solution isn't more insight, it's reduction. Narrow the time horizon today. I ask, what is the next concrete, non dramatic action? Return to the body, posture, breathe, movement. Stop asking questions and start answering practical ones. Here's the rule I'm testing, and it's simple enough to hold when I'm exhausted. Do not sacrifice stability for virtue. Do not sacrifice virtue for comfort. If helping destabilizes me, I step back. If avoiding is just comfort seeking, I step forward. No heroics, no self assure. Thinking lightly of myself doesn't mean disappearing. Thinking deeply of the world doesn't mean drowning in it. It means standing where I actually am, doing what is actually mine to do, and letting the rest remain where it belongs, quietly, consistently on the ground. This is Wraith Vendetta documenting the work.